Is it possible for a group of women to go out for dinner and drinks without drama between them? I would truly love to see the housewife franchise contract these ladies sign because now I'm beginning to believe that they get a bonus if they show their ass on TV. But I think one thing they need to ask themselves, does that check that they get, is it worth the value of their self-respect? If so, then have at it. Welcome to Cliff Alerts. Today I will be reviewing The Real Housewives of Potomac Season 7, Episode 7. And this is a continuation of last week where the ladies are getting ready to go to Bar 1 in Miami. The conversation starts off with Maya, Giselle, and Ashley discussing what they're going to be doing for the evening. And Ashley, once she finds out that they're going to Bar 1, she asks if Wendy knows that they're going to Peter's place because she understands that they have some sort of business arrangement going on. That's when Maya says that Peter has a beef with Wendy. Giselle added her 2 cents. She said that she met Peter for the first time when she went to a fundraiser at his bar in Baltimore, and that she understands that Wendy tried to do some sort of research on him to find out whether they can collaborate together. And I'm wondering why that is a big deal. To participate in a business venture, you got to know who your partners are, who the investors are, what are their backgrounds, how successful have they been, have there been any issues financially, have they been arrested, or is there fraud involved? That's just a standard thing anyone does when they're getting into business to find out whether the two parties that are getting ready to align themselves are able to do so. So I'm not sure if Giselle, in all her foolishness, if she understands that. After a drink, the ladies head out from the suburbs of Miami to Miami Beach, and clearly it took some time, but they arrive. They order appetizers, and the foolishness begins. Ashley starts it off by asking whether anyone heard her say that Chris touched her friend's butt. Robin said alleged, but she just said that for the camera because we all know in the flashback that Giselle came to the Sprinter when they went to the vineyard and told Robin that Chris propositioned and touched Ashley's friend's butt. That sounds like a sexual assault, and Giselle is happy to frame that for Robin. Giselle to double down on what she said, claim that that's what she heard, and then she adds that Chris moved his hand from the side of Ashley's friend to her butt. So Ashley said that she would admit it if she said something, but that's a lie too. Ashley is in the business of speaking a whole lot of lies. She's the one who brought up the story about Chris and her friend at the bar, that he was flirting, and now she has to go back and really be careful about what she's actually saying, because based on what I know, these ladies are speaking in a way against one of their colleagues' husband that potentially can create some legal problems for them. And at the end of it, Giselle doubled down and they took it as a joke that this is what Chris did, when that's not what happened. And no one said definitively that the story was a lie and it did not happen. So, Giselle, when her lips are moving, a lie is coming forth. And she looks at Karen and Sharice and said that she was happy to see them speak at the airport, trying to, of course, um, push a conversation between Sharice and Karen because that's why Sharice is on the show to start stuff with Karen. Giselle seems to be determined to try to cause problems in other people's marriages. The way Giselle and Sharice framed it, it's like because Karen is not speaking with Sharice, she is running from her and that she's afraid of her because they believe Sharice knows Karen's secrets, which is unlikely. Sharice starts talking to Karen about when people think that you're coming from a bad place, and then Karen said, "Well, who's coming from a bad place?" And Sharice, of course, tries to bring Wendy into the discussion. Wendy indicated that she did speak to Sharice, but right now she's trying to deflect and that she and Karen needs to work their stuff out and they'll bring her in it. And all of a sudden, Maya starts calling Wendy's name over and over again as if she's reprimanding her in some way. And Wendy looked at her and asked her, "Well, what are you doing? You're doing too much." And then Wendy says, "You just said in the car 5 minutes ago that the reason why you gotta believe go on Karen's side is that Charisse is too extra. She's theatrical. She complained about her room not having an ensuite, and it was just too much." And Maya admitted, "Yeah, well, I did say that." Robin spoke up and said, in defense of Cherie, she had 0 bathrooms. Robin, the poster child for organization and everything that's good in the world. She comes to Cherie's defense regarding a bathroom. Cherie said she wanted to understand why did Karen move on. Come to find out, as Karen said, Cherise hasn't called her in 5 years, and Karen said that she has moved away from the disappointment of the past. She has evolved as a human being, and now she's focused on what is in front of her, her future. Um, and Cherise framed it as if, how could Karen move on? As if Karen needs her say so to cut her out of her life. Cherise has proven to be a toxic, calculated, and deceitful. Why would anyone want her in their life as a friend? And if you have not called someone in 5 years, stands to reason that they understand that the friendship is over. I don't know why these ladies are framing it as if Charisse knows the 411 on Karen. She does not. There was a lie at the reunion 5 years ago, and it's a lie now. These are all the things that Robin and Giselle have been scheming and plotting, just like Candace said. This is what they do. This year's basket is full of bringing forward toxic stories that have been dealt with in the past. Peter Thomas comes to the table and he gives everyone a kiss. He asked Wendy why she didn't call him, and she told him to check his text. And then Wendy said something totally presumptuous. She asked Peter, she saw that he had Nigerian shrimp on the menu. Was she implying that Peter put that on the menu because of her? Ashley, noting that Peter didn't come to the table with any drama, asked Maya was she sure about that Peter had beef with Wendy because he didn't come to the table in any kind of way but his jovial self. Maya did state that Peter is a jokester, and then she got up and left the table as if to search for him. Next, we see Maya and Charisse and Peter having a conversation. And Peter, in a trifling way. I remember Nene calling him Patricia because he liked to get in women's business, telling Maya that he had a beef with Wendy and that he had sent her some sort of document and she had not yet responded to it. And he just did not like that she came to Miami and did not contact him. That seemed like a personal issue. She doesn't have to reach out to him when she's in Miami. If she decides that the trip is just going to be a relaxing trip, she doesn't want to do business, she doesn't want to do business. And from what I see, based on last week's episode, it seemed like Wendy's husband does all the financial stuff in their home. And he was the one who pointed out to her that her money doesn't stretch far enough to get involved in this business venture with Peter, because he said, I looked at the proposal. So if Wendy's husband doesn't reach out to Peter, there's nothing that she can personally do about it. Wendy should have called Peter and said, hey, we're not going to get involved in this venture and just move on. But I thought it was a little trifling for Peter, acting like Patricia. And he knew he was being sketchy because he said to Maya, I'm just giving you all the tea. So he knew he was saying something that will cause some problems to begin with. Meanwhile, Charisse wants to have a meeting with Peter because she said she's into champagne and she wants to do a champagne lounge and she wants to pick his brain. So they all go back to the table and Maya returns, and the first thing out of her mouth is that Peter has a beef with Wendy. And then she and Wendy had a back and forth. Wendy said that she doesn't have to contact Peter if she's coming to town. Only the man she got at the house with the babies know her itinerary, and she doesn't have to have a business meeting with Peter if she's on vacation. Maya, on the other hand, thinks that's weird and that she needs to go beyond that and have a meeting so they can discuss business, because she believes Peter is giving her an opportunity to learn and that she should be more forthcoming with information. If he sends her something, she needs to respond. Of course, that sets Wendy off. So Wendy starts cussing and fussing, and Wendy gets into her feelings. And of course, when she's there, she talks about how educated she is and how she's a professor at Johns Hopkins, and she's the first black woman professor at Johns Hopkins, and she's the youngest one at Johns Hopkins. Maya then says she's the only black woman at a boardroom, and they're going back and forth and back and forth. Meanwhile, I looked at Johns Hopkins faculty, and Wendy is not correct when she said she's the only black professor at Johns Hopkins University. And I don't know why she chose to bring that up, hence the disclaimer at the end. Johns Hopkins is a prestigious, conservative university and medical hospital. They do a lot of research in cancer and in other stuff. And I'm thinking, why would she bring what she does up as if it's a sword she uses to slay people with? She got to come to some understanding that what she does, being a professor, is your job. It's not who you are. And while it's great that you are a black female professor working at Johns Hopkins, it's not good that you will mention that and at the same time behave in an unprofessional manner. She does know how to use her words, and she is antagonistic, and she'll use those words to drag you, just like she dragged Robin and Giselle last season, and they still haven't recovered. She will use your words against you. So she starts telling Maya, you and your husband could roll one way, that you could have meetings with other men. That's not how she and her husband roll. They play one way, and Maya and her husband play the other. Maya is so upset at this point that she throws her drink on Wendy. Well, some of it goes on her, but most of it goes on the table. But still, she threw a drink at her. Maya gets up from the table and tells Wendy that she's not going to talk about her family that way. Robin said that Wendy is instigating a fight. Asks Maya, who is now being held back by security, what she's going to do. Robin, aka Get, she turns on her phone as if she's filming what is going down. But we have film on Robin too. The week before, she claimed that Wendy telling people that she was about to fight her is not who she is, and we have film on her walking towards Wendy as if she wanted to fight, and Charisse putting her hands on her shoulders and walking her back to her seat. We got film on her raggedy behavior as well. So Wendy starts talking about Maya and her husband. Other rumors that she claims she heard. She said Maya may have a relationship with Peter as well. Once Maya heard that, she tried to attack her again. Security's holding her back. Then when the security tried to take her away so that she can calm down, Wendy called her crater face. And I guess that was a blow to the heart. And she's tried to rush her again. And finally, they got her out of the room. Jacqueline got up from the table and walked her out. And I guess at that point she recognized how foolish her actions were, that she made a fool of herself. She said that she needed to calm down, but she snapped. At this point, I gotta mention Karen. Karen was sitting between Maya and Wendy. So when Maya threw the drink, Karen got up so quickly, and it was Karen's birthday. So when all the chaos and what have you was unfolding, Karen looked into the camera and said, "Happy birthday." It was very funny. And meanwhile, this is happening in a public space. This is a restaurant, someone's business. And I just see Peter show up to say, hey, hey, to check the ladies, to get control of the situation. And then Maya comes back to the table. So I'm now at this point wondering, why are they forcing these ladies to just come back to the table so they can continue filming? So that's why I thought personally that maybe they had a clause in there that if they show their asses, then they get a bonus. Because it made no sense to me. Stands to reason that they will try to stop filming and sort of let the women, separate and go their separate ways. But no, Maya came back, and Wendy, she starts pointing. Karen tells Maya that she should not have thrown the drink, and Maya was trying to prove her point, and she turned to Wendy, and they still got that fire towards each other, and Wendy now gets up as if she wants to, jump on her. And this is when the security guard had to come again to separate them. I believe it was 3 times the security had to separate these ladies. And it was awful to look at. That one, a professor, and 2, a businesswoman, are fighting like that, or having aught against each other so publicly in a foul way. And meanwhile, Robin, aka Miss Get, she is trying to tell the viewing audience that Maya throwing a drink was wrong, but Wendy deserved what she got because she was clowning Maya, or as she said, instigating the the situation to the 10th degree. Once the ladies are now separated again, Giselle starts screaming at Karen that she's humping because she told Maya that she should not have thrown the drink. And then Giselle said, be a friend. And Karen responded like she is being a friend, even to your raggedy ass. What does she want? Karen to co-sign with Maya? Maya threw a drink on Wendy and she didn't have cause to do so. The conversation didn't need all that heat and all that fire. So where did it come from? I believe that it came from Giselle and Robin. There's undertone to this that it's wearing its ugly head with both Robin and Giselle. Because you got to call what is right right and what is wrong wrong. And these ladies are sort of like committed to just attacking Wendy for just about everything. Maya comes back to the table and Wendy, still angry, starts asking what kind of raggedy itch will throw a drink on another woman, that she's supposed to be a CEO and a boss, and that's what you do. Maya gets up again from the table as security hovers. Wendy told her that she embarrassed herself and embarrassed her business. She destroyed everything that she stood for. And this is when Maya tries to hit Wendy with a napkin. Now they finally get her out to her car, and she sits in her vehicle with Jacqueline and they call Gordon. And she tells Gordon what went down. She asks him if he can get her a flight out of Miami to go home. She tells Gordon what's happening. Gordon asks her, well, did anyone agree with you? And she said, everybody but Karen. And Jacqueline spoke up and said Karen told her that she should not have thrown the drink. And I was grateful for that. Robin and Giselle came out to the parking lot and Maya told them that she was leaving and they were trying to convince her to stay. Stay for what exactly? They wanted to see more of, because both of them were enjoying it. Both of them were having fun. Giselle was clapping when the food came to the table as if nothing was going on, while Robin, aka Miss Get, was filming the incident. So they wanted more of the same. When we return to the table now, Ashley says she likes Maya, but throwing a drink is out of bounds. That it's not the right thing to do. She don't like the physicality of it. Giselle gets back to the table and she sits down. I guess they have a meal because nothing crazy went on. You still gotta eat. That's her priority. Ashley asked her how Maya was doing, and she said not well under the circumstances. She's gonna have to figure what she's gonna do for the next 2 days. And that's when Wendy got up and grabbed her bag and she pointed out she doesn't intend to entertain Maya's empathizers. And then she points at Giselle and said someone is okay with violence now, but when Monique did the same to Candace, Giselle had a problem. And I remember Giselle bringing security because she said she was afraid of Monique and Monique was violent. And I gotta say, lest we forget, Wendy was part of that crew. I believe that was her first season, and she aligned herself with these demonic women to push Monique off that show. And where Monique was in that scenario, there she is. And they're putting the same pressure on Candace as well. It's a cautionary tale to all of us looking on, because I'm going to find a lesson in this, that you can't co-sign bad behavior and think and believe that itch does not come back to drag you. Because this entire restaurant event was created on the back of a lie. These ladies do not realize that a check and fame and fortune and notoriety does not value as highly as your self-respect. I know personally, had someone thrown a drink in my face, I would want to burn the place down. But as I have grown older and I know who I am and where the line is, if I see stuff getting out of control, I am out. Once Maya and Wendy started getting into it, someone should have said, this ain't gonna work. Step away and step away permanently. That's why I believe that Bravo wanted these ladies to throw down. And that's exactly what they did. And meanwhile, Bravo had to post a disclaimer for John Hopkins as a result of Wendy's behavior. Maya got to know that she works in a public space. So therefore, she got to conduct herself accordingly. She can't be throwing drinks just because she feels like it. There's a consequence for acting up. So just having that awareness is the beginning of a whole lot of wisdom. We all got to know that our self-respect is valuable. It's worth a whole lot. It's worth everything. And if you're willing to throw it away for a check or for fame or for what have you, you're not going to be working with a whole lot after that. I know that beasts have a tendency to want to burn stuff down, but I also have an understanding that God gave me wisdom. So when I see ish coming up or ish rising within me, I head out. The word says run after peace. And that's exactly what I intend to do because I know me. I won't stop until I see ashes. And it's always good to know how far you can go and what's inside of you so you know how to deal with stuff and deal with it in a different way, because I don't think these ladies understand that they can walk away from these kinds of issues before they even pop off. They can get up and leave, run after peace, because it's everything. I'm out.